Welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your girl Christina. We are back for another recap and review. This time a new show entitled The Passage, which just debuted on Fox, I believe Mondays at 9? I think, maybe? I don't know. I watched it on Hulu. So this just debuted yesterday, January the 14th. I will be reviewing the entire season, even if I hate it. I'm not, I have some split opinions regarding this pilot episode, but it is a pilot episode. Some pilots are phenomenal, some are really awful, and the show turns out to be really amazing. So a pilot it doesn't make or break a show. So this pilot, I'm giving it a rating of about 7.2. I liked it in some parts, but there was a lot of, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been watching too much cable television that I don't watch a lot of Fox or NBC or ABC I really don't watch ABC, but unless it is kind of a Criminal Minds, FBI type of thing, I'm not interested in it. They just don't have the right amount of detail in their storytelling, and I get it. They have, smaller budgets for television series than say HBO. They can't spend $1.2 million just to make a television series and hope that the audience likes it. They have to work with what they're working with, and a lot of networks out there get some shows or pilots thrown at them, and then they give them half a shot, and then they see how they feel with the audience. So it doesn't have to be the most engaging script. It just needs to be more of an idea. And with The Walking Dead kind of having that fan glory there, it makes sense that at some point they would want to make another type of series like that, focusing on that. We had The Strain as well, but there is not a lot of genre around vampires or zombies or like that on television right now. So it is a nice genre to get into, or that would interest people that are into things like The Walking Dead or The Strain. But you're not going to get that elevated amount of what's the word I'm looking for? Because I know the quality in The Walking Dead has went down on the storytelling, but it was nowhere near where some of the pitfalls where serialized TV kind of like this falls into, like, because you have to get the audience in so quickly. Sometimes you're just doing way too much or just making your characters not necessarily believable, and it really hurts despite having a strong premise on what the show can be. But before I get into the episode, I do want to go over a little housekeeping in case you missed it on my last podcast when I put out the schedule on how I'm going to be doing the podcasting for the week. So Tuesday, I'm going to be dropping The Passage. Wednesday, I'll be dropping The Flash. Thursday, I'll be alternating between The Haunting of Hill House and Preacher. Friday, I'll be doing Star Trek Discovery. And then either Saturday or Sunday, whichever day, I'll just look for my social medias when I'll say I'll be posting which day, I'll be doing The Expanse. I really, really, really want to watch True Detective right now. So stinking bad. It's not even funny how much I really want to watch this show, because I love Mahershala Ali. He's just so fine. But I am going to put that off. I'm going to put that off for a little bit. We'll see how far I get with that, because I heard it was really good and it came on this Sunday. Tonight The Flash comes back and I am beyond hyped for that. So I need to hurry this shit up because I gotta go watch The Flash before I go to bed. So enough housekeeping, getting directly into this episode. The pilot was directed by Jason Einsler and Marco Siega, and it was written by Liz Heldings. It had a decent, they said it was okay. I thought it was a good viewership. Maybe Fox has higher standards. And just to let y'all know, Fox is not my favorite of the show. I'm still bitter about Sleepy Hollow. I will never, the fact that they even had a cast member from Sleepy Hollow in this show is so infuriating to me, because I'm like, oh, you mother, God, I have not forgiven what you have done to Abby Mills. Not even a little bit. So Fox is not in my wheelhouse of shows that I just watch live anyway. But I don't watch a lot of other shows that they do occasionally, which I love the cameo in here. They do Bob's Burgers, but I watch that on Hulu when I'm just bored. And I think I need a laugh, but I don't want to get into anything. But at the same time, I just need something to pass the time. That's when I'll watch Bob's Burgers. So we start the episode with Amy Belafonte, who is doing a voiceover. And we see a image of her. She's a beautiful little black girl in a car with a oh shit look on my face, on her face anyway. And she's talking about how she didn't believe in monsters, but now she does. And you're like, what's going on? But I wasn't that too into what was going on, because I was like, okay, a voiceover, that's original. I'm really sick and tired of the voiceovers. I'm not even gonna lie, her entire voiceover, as much as I love this little girl, is so unnecessary. Absolutely and utterly unnecessary. Just let us be adults and smart people and let us figure out the storyline. Just throw us in there. We'll figure it out. There's ways to do that, you know, and shows have been doing it well for a really long time. So this type of storytelling is beyond lazy, and it only works when it works. And it didn't work at all in this entire episode. I could not get it to work for me. She says that it started off with two friends who wanted to change the world, and then we go to the Bolivian highlands in 2015. So they're making it very relevant, which I like, that it is in the now. We're not saying this is, 15 years ago or somewhere in the future. They are looking, that's when we get our first introduction anyway to Dr. Tim Fanning and then Dr. Lear. And I was like, oh, that's the dude from Lost. He get around a lot. Henry Ian Cusick, is that his last name? Hopefully I said that right. But he is all over everybody's television series. Like, wasn't he on The 100? We know he was on Lost. He was on Scandal for a little bit. He be on everything. Like, I need to look at his portfolio and see how many credits he got at this point. I'm not saying ain't nothing wrong with it. Hey, shoot, like I said, pilots or TV shows come out every 5 seconds. And people just be dropping them. And he's like, look, I am a TV actor, whatever is successful. And my character can play. So they are looking for a 250-year-old man that's apparently in a cave. They're trying to ask for directions. I think it was Dr. Lear who made some allusion about giving up his watch. They're surrounded by military. So this was definitely done at the behest of the government. So I love that we're seeking immortality. That's something we're totally willing to spend tax dollars on. Although we are going to not necessarily tell anybody. However, as they are getting to this cave, they see this dude who is carrying a bucket that looks like it has blood on it, and no one says a fucking thing. I'm like, I know y'all see this guy. He's got a huge metal bucket with blood in it. We find out that they actually work for the CDC, and they're trying to find the cure to all diseases. Again, I love that we're just actively out there seeking immortality. And they get into the cave, and they immediately see this grunting, it looked like a human, but it didn't, because it was all grayish and huge and monsterish. Typical vampire. But he is in this cage, and the one guy's like, why is he in a cage? Yeah, good question. Don't go near the cage if you can't even understand the locals who are telling you very clearly, sir, do not go near the cage. He's like feeding him the blood, and no one's like, what's going on? I'm just gonna walk right up here. Sure, do that, buddy. That's I'm a doctor. I can help. Does he look like he needs assistance from you, sir? He does not look like he needs assistance. He looks like he needs to back the fuck up. But apparently someone is smart enough to say, hey, what is that dude saying? And that's our first introduction to, what is his name? I wrote his name down. Clark. There's so many fucking names in the show. They were getting on my nerves, to be honest. I think his name's Clark. But he says, like, what is he saying? And he says vampire, and he's like, oh snap. Like, he did not hesitate to put his gun up and be like, hey, whatever's happening, they think it's a vampire, so back the fuck up. But it's too damn late. He is really ignorantly going up to this cage, and the guy, of course, left the door open because he's so distracted by this one guy that he's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave the door open as I was feeding him because that's convenient. And Tim get got. This thing comes out, Tim gets got, and now was it one of the military people or was it one of the Congo folks that stabbed him? Because it looked like he got staked. Like the 250-year-old man got straight up shanked, meeting humans for the first time. Like, okay, white humans, because they were the violence. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Anyway, I do not know why they had Dr. Lear ineffectually calling Tim. He's like, Tim. My dude Tim. Like, come on. I know you know how to act. So what is this? What is this whole thing? Dr. Jonas Lear. That is his name. I put his name down in the notes. Anyways, then he proceeds to go put his hand on his throat like he just didn't have a whole piece just gnawed right off. There's no saving that. He's dead. And just when I think that this whole entire ignorant scene is over, it continues. It continues, folks. Because Dr. Lear is sitting in some remote hospital, and lo and behold, Mr. Fanning himself comes walking down the hallway, just all types of cash, like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm totally fine. And this is when Dr. Lear starts to freak out because he's like, your wound, oh my god, it's gone. And as soon as he walks up to his friend, he's like, oh my god, you're alive. He's like, I am, and I feel amazing. And he said it like, you about to be evil. And then he follows it up with, we're going to change the world. I'm like, oh yeah, you definitely about to be evil. Because whatever idea he had to change the world, that shit got warped with whatever disease was injected into you, which is the vampire virus. And that's when he decides to look shook after he loses his teeth. He's like, are you bleeding? And his teeth come out, and that's to allow for his fangs, right? And that's when we get this annoying voiceover once again, like, and that's when Project Noah was born. Because I guess Noah's Ark? Again, why? 3 years later, we are at Huntsville State Prison in Texas, where we meet a character I guess we're going to be following way more than I thought we were going to be following anyway. We meet Anthony Carter, and we meet, damn, did I ever get his name for the guy from Sleepy Hollow? I don't think I did, but I called him bitch boy the entire, so if you wonder who I'm talking about, that's who I'm talking about. But we get Brad and bitch boy. They come to recruit this man like they some damn Noah salesmen, and this black man is absolutely utterly skeptical. He's like, what you mean you gonna take me somewhere to a medical facility? Oh, you gonna because what, doesn't Brad start talking all the time about, well, yeah, we recruited all these other people, and and now they're taking in the air, we're gonna commute your sentence, all you gotta do is volunteer for this experiment. And Mr. Carter is like, yeah, I guess you don't have no first-hand account of all the people that you're talking about saying how wonderful it was. And that's when Bitch Boy is like, dude, you're on death row, and what other options do you have? You're about to get electrocuted. And I love that they put this in Texas, because I was like, And he was not wrong. The whole time I was thinking that he was getting this deal. Like, I get it. I get it, guys. You don't want to just give yourself up to some random ass folks to do experiments on, even if you're facing death. But don't be sitting there acting like, I felt at that moment he was stunting like like he had something to bargain with. I'm like, no, bruh, they just chose you. So take the deal or don't take the deal. I'm sure there are plenty of other people they can mine from, which is my whole problem with the premise of this show, to be honest. And I'm going to get this out here now. Why is Amy Belafonte the only little girl in America that has no relation to no one of whom they can get what they need to experiment on? I just don't feel like there was, like, I don't feel like there was no other candidates. Like, oh, okay, this shit fell through. Let's find someone else. Even if they were going to go after them, it seems like, oh, it's only Amy. There's no discussion whatsoever about using someone else. And we all know the foster care system. Hey, we started off there. There's plenty of kids out there that would make great candidates. So there's no reason why we should be focusing on this kid. I thought that she had like some genetic code or something. Like there was something special about her, that it had to be her. I have not read the books. I forgot to premise that at the beginning. I have not read any of the series, so I know that it's based on a book, but I have no knowledge of it. So coming into the show, that was my assumption, was they need her for this X reason. And it turns out that there is no reason. It's just she's an orphan. Okay. I'm sure if she just waits about 45 minutes, she can have some more candidates that would probably give her less issues, or give them less issues. That's just me. Anyhow, I had to go get me something to drink. I could not get the people's names at first, so I'll put them nicer, man. Brad tells him, he calls him by his first name, like Anthony. He basically says the same thing, but in a nicer way. Like, I can give you something that no one else can give you, and that's time. Oceans of time. And that does sound better than the death sentence. We go to Tellerud, Colorado, to a military facility, and we get that voiceover again, which I completely ignored what she was saying. And we find out that the Chinese have a pandemic going around. It's the Chinese alien flu. Make this shit up. I love how they're like, this is going to be a global pandemic if they don't stop it soon. And I love the cutthroat bitchiness in this room. Because that one jerk said really quickly, like, oh, that's so sad for them. Like, she did not say that. I should say, like, no empathy whatsoever. When is that going to hit the U.S.? In 3 months. Okay, that's where our priorities roll. Like, there's no offer of assistance. Not like we're helping them out. It's like, this is what's going on over there. It could reach us soon. We need a cure. What's up? So we see that Dr. Lear is there. So he clearly, despite what happened to his friend, is a part of Project Noah. Maybe his friend didn't. Yeah, because they said it took a minute for him to devolve. We find that out very soon. We see that there's a room of doctors, and they find out that they need a cure ASAP to what's going on. And this one guy, this Asian guy, just steps up, and he's like, why did they make him like this? He's like, I got an idea, but no one's gonna like it. Then shut the fuck up, dude. Why are you gonna talk if you're not going to just say what you mean? But he's like, let's just go down to the cells and then I can explain to you. He just basically wanted to show off in front of the class, because that's all this was a huge exposition to the audience, which would have been fine, but they just did it in a way that I didn't like it. But they, I see a look pass between Nicole and Clark, which he's not cute. I'm not shipping it. Out of all the things, like usually I'm all about that interracial love. Y'all know me. But I'm not shipping this because A, he's not cute, but 2, he feels like an ass. And then that later scene, which we'll get to, I was like, really? Come on, Fox, you gotta show your true colors. Anyway, they go down to the cells, and I'm like, oh damn, they got Fanny locked up. I immediately started thinking about the Akon song. I did. Locked up. And Tim does look like a cool ass vampire. I like the effect with the eyes. I think that's the best part. And the skin, the way they have it pale, but they show that his blood vessels are showing, around his face and his neck. And I like that creepy look to him because he does seem like he's not there, but it's very clear that he's somewhere in there, and Dr. Lear believes that. So this is all gonna go terribly wrong, but it's gonna be like human error. And this is why it pisses me off when people are like, why do people in Westworld, why would they, Felix and Sylvester, let Maeve just do what she want in them glass doors? Well, at least it's not stupid shit like this. I can believe when people are just not paying the fuck attention to what's going on. I gotta work on this stuff. I ain't figuring out what Joe Dick is doing over there with his. And apparently everyone down there was doing some type of side shit, so they were all corrupt. And this plot, the way they're doing it here, it's just messy. There's no reason for it. Anyway, he starts going through all of these different inmates that they have down there, and we find out that most of them are from death row. That's where they've been getting their, for lack of a better word, lab experiments. And I wondered if they were going to have any commentary on that, but no. So I guess it gets really interesting when we go to Shauna. Is it Babcap? I don't know. Lady of Dragons chick. She is the most genetically modified one of them, because they've been trying to take the vampire virus, right, and make a cure out of that would cure all diseases, because that's the effect. Like, basically, once you are exposed to the vampire virus, you no longer are affected by regular human diseases. You're immune to it. You just become blood-sucking vampires, which he said everyone's avoiding the word vampire because they don't exist, right? So I like that they're trying to play into the idea that, we won't call it what it is, but I just can't believe that we would not just lean in. It is what it is. If it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Just, that's not the problem, is naming it. The problem is figuring it the fuck out. Something about some neurons, the more the neurons, the less the decline of the human characteristics. And because Shauna, she was the most successful one, she still looks fairly human. But they don't think, which we find out in a later scene, there's anything to them anymore. Like, they've lost all ability to think and be like a human, which if we're going to say the word vampire, then the stereotype fits the fact that they would still maintain their humanity in some aspect. They're not zombies where they don't have any type of brain activity other than the most primitive. So whatever, again, these really terrible things in this show really bring it down to what I do think is kind of a cool idea of vampires taking over and starting with a zero storyline to show that. It's just, let's not make us so dumb. The characters, that is. Anyway, he tells them that we need a younger candidate. And I love the one guy's like, well, we got a 25-year-old coming tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, fuck that. We need someone younger. And I love when Dr. Lear's like, don't say it. And then Nicole's immediately like, oh, you want us to start testing children? And he's like, yes, please, fuck yes. We need kids. They have neurons. This won't even affect them, man. They got so many. This won't even do shit to them. And we see Nicole go for a run where she's clearly thinking about it. And she meets up with Clark, and they're kind of flirting a little bit. Because she's like, how did you find me? He's like, I know where everyone is. I'm head of security, apparently. And he asks her, how far did she go? She says 6 miles. And she says that, hey, I've been trying to poke theories into this idiot's theory all morning, but unfortunately it's sound. And she's like, just asking for a friend. How feasible is it to, get a kid that can't be traced back to us? No social workers, no people suing us, whatever. Let's kidnap a kid and experiment on him. And he's like, I can totally do that for you. But he's like, can you live with this? And she says, fuck no. This is terrible. This is a horrible thing. It's going to be on my conscience. But basically, I have to sacrifice my conscience for millions of lives. And I get that. I get that she at least gave a realistic answer. Because it's easy to say, oh, you're just a mad scientist. But sometimes we always know that in any bit of the lab rat experimentation, eventually there's human trials. And in our history, unfortunately, those human trials have not went all perfectly. And we've benefited from it as a human race with some of our medicine. So we would be really hypocritical, I think. I'm not saying I am an advocate for this shit. Hell no. You should pay people who are volunteering to do it. Being honest with them to a certain degree, about what they're going into. And, yes, the people who are going to volunteer this are going to be from the lower dredges of society. We saw that in Preacher, when you see the people who are volunteering their souls. Oh yeah, I'll get give a piece of my soul to get my mortgage, but then you're going to turn around and sell that soul to upcharge to the billionaires. It's the way of society. It's how it's always worked. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what it is. And her answer was not, I'm trying to fix something, or yes, this is some huge philosophical thing on what's the right thing to do, on some moral thing. Yeah, no, what I'm doing is hideous. What I'm saying we should do is terrible, but the science is behind it. So yeah, we got to get it done, because in 3 months, we may not be able to save America, which is going to be billions of people versus one child that unfortunately won't even be missed, which is really sad. And then we go to the child, and she is in Memphis, Tennessee. Her name is Amy Bellatante. What? All right, see, I already fucked it up because she was yelling at other people, talking about don't screw up my name. Anyway, she is arm wrestling this boy in a diner. It's adorably cute. This is the part of the episode where I started to like things. And I just love their dialogue. They cursed up a damn storm in there, which is so realistic because kids are badasses and they be cursing up a storm when parents and adults are not around. So she wins at the arm wrestling contest, which is really cute. They pay up, and I love he's like, I had plans for that money, but whatever. I like the fact that they didn't make the little kids little shits, like, making fun of her because she beat them. It's like, dawg, they had mad respect. He's like, you want to come over to my mama's house for dinner? He's like, my mom won't care. She's like, nah, I gotta be home too. And it's just a really nice little scene. I don't know, maybe because I felt the authenticity of it. But later that night at the diner, she's reading A Wrinkle in Time, and I'm like, okay, that's not tropish at all. And the waitress comes by like, hey girl, you need to go home because we gotta shut up. Yo, I'm surprised your mama let you out this late. And she's like, yeah, my mama works nights. And I'm like, At first I thought she was a hooker or a prostitute or something like that. Cause we saw that she was walking home by herself. She clearly lives at a hotel. And as soon as she walks home, I'm like, damn, her mom dies. The cops are outside. They're moving out the the body. Apparently she died of a drug overdose, so it looks like she was a crackhead. That's what she calls her mama. Aw. And then she says, this is how the world ends. And we jump back to Anthony, who is being dropped off to Project Noah, and he gets into the building. He's like, what is this place? And he's like, well, it used to be a hotel, Brad, that is. And he's like, nah, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, too late now, bruh. You already inside of, you ain't got in a car. You've been released. There's no going back. Even if you wanted to, ain't nobody about to drive you back. And just as he's going on the elevator, looking all types of, I ain't coming back from this, or we'll never see each other again, or something like that. Bitch Face says, it's Bitch Face, Bitch Boy, I like to switch it up every once in a while. He says, you ever wonder what happens to these homicidal maniacs? And Brad says, I don't think about it. But it felt like to me within the later half of this episode that he knows a little bit more than he's letting on to what happens. Maybe not exactly what they're doing, but he knows that it ain't legal. Brad, and his name is Brad Wargus. That is the most horrible name. And then Clark Richards, his name is Clark. We find out after they hug that they're military buds. Clark learned everything from Brad. They were in special ops together, and he gives him the file. He stares at him really hard, basically like, are we gonna have a problem? When he shows him what his next target is, and he's like, I don't have a problem. So he must clearly, because he's a friend of the family, because we see him saying it was nice to see you again, Lila. So he knows that Brad had a kid. So he knew damn well there were so many red flags all over this. He should have never sent him out. He had the wrong person for the job, but whatever, he's the best person. And maybe he felt like, he's done it this many times, but it's convicts. It's different. You tell him to go pick up a kid. Anyhow, we go back to Gangsta, who's in Gangsta Amy, who's in foster care. She is wrestling in the mud with this fat girl over her book. And she, her facial expressions, she be getting it, little girl. I love Amy. She was tearing that girl the fuck up, though. She's like, oh, give me my fucking book. And the foster mother comes out, and she's like, there's a man here for you. And I'm like, damn, they got there in record time, didn't they? From Colorado to Memphis? That feels like a longer drive, but maybe they flew. I don't know. They had a car. Whatever. Brad tries to fool her with, oh, your mom just died, and, we want to test you for some disease that she may have had. And she's like, my mom died of an overdose. And I love Bitch Face look in that scene. He was like, oh, okay. Like, weren't expecting that, Mr. I can close any deal. Because didn't he compliment him? Like, this guy can talk anybody into anything. And he's like, look at this. You ain't had no pushback, and this 10-year-old's giving you the business. Because then she's like, why you showing up without a social worker? And it's always a woman. And he's like, just go get your shit. Or at least that's what the foster mom says. And she promptly is not fooled and tries to escape. And she throws her backpack out of the window and runs off, but steals her book before she does. And did you hear the mama go talking about, so am I gonna get reimbursed for food because basically that shit ain't free and I just don't give it out? And Bitch Face finally looks disgusted by something. He's like, are you serious? Like, you gotta be kidding me. And Amy takes off. Bitch Face chases her with Brad in the car. He's looking on, but he did send him to get her. But he lost his damn mind, because when he saw her at that park and he picked her up and she was screaming, like, I get it. Like, I kind of felt like he was fine until he crossed that line when he slapped her. And I was like, did he just slap her?
No. Hell no.
Like, I really could not believe I saw that happen on television. I was like, they really just showed this grown-ass man slapping this young little black girl. Like, what the fuck is that? But I love that they did not let that shit go unchecked for long, because he did not even get far. He's like, let's go. He's like, I'm just trying to get out of the neighborhood. But as soon as he did, like the side eye that Brad gave him, and then he's like, nah, I can't even wait until we completely, it's been a few blocks. Yeah, he face plants the fuck out of him. Like, if I ever see you hit that kid again, I will shoot you in the fucking face. He makes it very clear, like, yeah, no, go apprehend her, but you don't put your hands on this kid. Are you lost your mind? Like, we wouldn't even slap a woman. So I was really mad that they took one of my really beloved characters from Sleepy Hollow and made him a complete and utter douchebag. Anyway, Brad calls Clark, tells him, like, dude, I got the kid, but it was a fucking mess. There was 10 witnesses. I'm pretty sure someone called the cops. Clark's like, I got you. Just get me the kid. And Brad's like, no, let's scrap it. Let's just get rid of this kid. We don't need this kid. Why this kid? And he's like, you know, Brad, that basically if we don't get what the people we work for want, it's not going to go good for us. And we see how much influence they have when Brad decides to go AWOL. So we move on to them switching cars and outfits, because he says, you know what to do. And he did try to check on Amy at first, right? He got down to her level. He got very non-threatening. He asked her, are you nauseated? Which I was like, why? Because you got slapped? Like, he's like, did you pass out? Did you faint? And at first I'm thinking, I know he's not trying to still play the con that she's sick, but I think he's like, oh, you're a little girl, you got slapped, maybe you're gonna have some symptoms of that. I don't know. But she's like, she's very like, don't touch me. But then she very like begrudgingly answers like, what do you mean I want to be sick? She's like, no, like, why are you asking me these questions? And he looks behind, and she immediately does look like she's getting sick, and she pukes. He tells her to sit down. He tells bitch boy to go get some soda and some pretzels and basically snack food. And he looks like he don't know what a soda is. He's like, what if they don't have ginger ale? He's like, something clear with sugar. Are you stupid? Yes, he is. He's more thinking, this is not, like, they picked me because I am obviously someone who does not express a lot of empathy towards humankind. So no, I'm not the best person to be accommodating a kid at this moment. And he's cast very stereotypical, because I don't think that, like, despite what they've been doing, that they would have, like, someone would encounter a kid and have just no feeling for them whatsoever. Even if you thought it was Cargo, and maybe that's just how he protects himself, because it feels like the show wants to do something with him, because there were moments where I thought he was likable, and there was moments where I was like, he's very much the stereotypical type of ass where he's just over the top for no reason. Like, it's a 10-year-old little girl who just lost her mom 3 days ago. I don't care what type of person you are. You can't have that much of not having a heart and have worked in the service of the military and not have, you've chosen to give your life for strangers. Even in this field, yes, you can take a distance. Like, I even felt that Brad was more, even though he got a little too cozy, a little too quick, you can see at first he had a moment of, yes, this is Cargo, but then the moment he was confronted with the reality of it, he could not turn it off anymore. I felt like they were just hyping it like Douche didn't even have he didn't even have a moment. And I didn't think that was any favors for the character, especially if they intend to keep him, which I wish they would, because I do really like him as a person. And I want him to be on the show, and I want him to work, and I want him to grow and be someone. And I hope that this is someone that they can invest in. And I hate when they show characters like this and then you never do anything with them. Like Lee Sizemore, right? Season 1 of Westworld. I know I keep referencing Westworld, but season 1 of Westworld, overall, stereotypical, complete asshole. Season 2, we literally gave him this whole arc that really made sense of who we saw before, and then transcended, and then he became likable and he had an arc. I want that to be the same for this guy. So Brad's trying to connect with her, And he asked her, how long ago was it that your mom died? And she said 3 days. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Y'all ain't kidnapped this baby. And it has been 3 days since her mother has passed. And I love she asked, like, where are we going? And she's like, he's trying to be cozy, but she's like, I know I'm kidnapped. Like, I'm not stupid. And he can't answer any of her questions. She tells him, give me back my fucking book, after he tries to say, Wrinkled Time's a really good story. She's like, yeah. And you see it was given to her by her mom because she inscribes it in the book. And you start to get a picture of who her mother was. And I like that they did give a dimension to the character. They could have easily written her off as just the crackhead mom, and that's why Amy's had to be tough and fend for herself all her life. But they really did add another layer by showing that this was not a woman who did not love her daughter. This was a woman who could not cope with addiction. And I think that is an important message to put out there in television shows, that one doesn't necessarily mean the other. And I like that they really put into effect that this child, Amy, was loved, and thus she can give love to other folks, right? She can trust. Because if you have been raised a certain way where you've been unloved, you're going to have you would not be nearly as put together, I feel, as Amy would be, especially if your mom was a crackhead. You would, I don't know. It didn't add up, the variables, to me, because I've had that real life experience where I've seen people go through things where they've had parents who are struggling with addiction, and parents who have just not loved their children. There are ways that it affects them that I don't feel like television shows ever do it justice half the time. So, the one guy, bitch face, he comes back and he's like, I got the stuff. Like he bought drugs. And I'm like, Jesus, kid, get in the car. And he's been kicked to the back seat because Amy needs to read and not get car sick. So he put him in the back and put her in the front. We go back to Dr. Lear, and he's playing a rock song for his bestest friend, Tim, who is looking at him like, I still love you too. Is it me, or did I think they were more than friends? Because when he first walked up to him in the hospital, it looked like they was gonna kiss for a half a second. I'm just saying, it may not have been the case, but I feel like, I don't know, that they had a really, what's up with this male friendship thing between scientists? Dr. Ford and Arnold, Dr. Lear and Tim, all these men scientists that are just like so dedicated to each other. I'm like, do you have any family, Dr. Lear? He probably doesn't. And I'm not saying to be mean. I'm just saying that's why he's so dedicated to his friend. He says that he is trying to find the person that's still in there. I think that, yeah, he's still in there. He's just evil. Then this one random dude, I don't know who was he with them when this first happened? I don't know. But he tells him that, hey, I've been having these dreams about him, and he be telling me shit in the dreams about how he wants to go home. And Dr. Lear does not look alarmed at all. Not even a little bit. And he's like, yeah, the guys have been having nightmares too. And he's like, yeah, it's just cabin fever. Like, what the fuck? This is one of those instances where I'm just like, okay, TV, whatever you want to do, just keep this moving. Don't even focus on it. Lear is stupid. Clark is close to Lear, and he's just eye humping this blonde chick, and he's talking to the one guy that I hope dies, the one who said let's use kids, and he's telling him at this point that I think that whatever was human about them is gone, like their personality's gone. And Clark's like, you sure? Kind of like, I'm not so sure, because he apparently had something going on with this chick called Bamcock. I don't know. Anyway, she's eyeing him really hard. And he's like, yeah, that's what she does. She's staring right at you. And it doesn't look like she's staring directly at him, but he is apparently told that she is. So he's going to take the one guy's word for it. And he tells him it's time for dinner. And he does ask, hey, what was she on death row for? And we find out that she killed her parents. And he's like, Jesus. One guy's like, I can't believe these people are so evil. Well, of course, you got them off of death row. What did you think? That they had just, killed puppies? Anyway, which, that's a whole other thing that we can beat some people for. They start feeding them a shit ton of blood. Like, did you see how much blood went in there? Like, Jesus. And I love they're just like, no, we're not going to feed you the cow. We're just going to give you the cow juice. And she licks the blood. So when they get blood, that's when their eyes turn. Or at least the most human one, her eyes will turn. So that's eventually going to happen to Amy. And she starts eye-fucking Clark again. And we go back into the car. Amy's watching Bob's Burgers. He gets a call from his ex-wife, Lila, who's called him 7 times. And he's like, what's the message say? And I love Bitch Boys like, you have a wife? And she's like, oh, he has an ex-wife. What other wife does he have? Or something to that effect. I didn't really care too much. But I did like the way he was looking, like eyeing that iPad, like, you never let me use the iPad. And Amy's like, you won't call her back? And he's like, no. And her look was like, all right then. Like, I feel you. I'm gonna let you do you. And they see a sign for a carnival, and she gets this look like, I totally want to go to carnival. Who puts signs for carnival on the side of the road? I don't know. Is that a backwards highway thing? I don't know. Anyhow, she's like, I want to go to carnival. She doesn't say it, but her eyes say it. And Brad's like, I can't say no to you at all. So Bitch Boy's like, are you serious? And as soon as they get to the as soon as they get to the carnival, he basically tells him, this is cargo. What the hell are you doing? Like, I didn't get though his first point in the argument where he was like, okay, first the candy and the soda, then the front seat. And I was like, okay, those are your personal complaints. But then I hate the side with bitch face. What are you doing? Like, I get it. But according to the guidelines, they are supposed to pick up their cargo and get it back to base. That is their job. They're not supposed to make pit stops. They're supposed to make side stops. You're getting attached very quickly. This is not well. And you can see that Brad's not looking at him like you're wrong. He's looking at him like, yeah, but I'm not hearing you right now because I'm in my feelings. And apparently I'm having some memories, and I think this is my child now, and I've adopted her. So he tells her, we're going in, you stay here, and they proceed to go in the carnival. And of course, Amy has heard this entire conversation because it's not like they weren't yelling. We go back to Dr. Nicole, who is coming home, and we see Clark already up in the house, so they've been getting it on. Please don't tell me they got to start some weird 3-way with this chick in the sale, Bobcock, whatever her name is, Bangkok. I'll get it right next time. Because she says, I don't want to talk about work, Nicole that is, and Clark's like, we don't got to talk about work, baby. I got you. They go to Bone Town, and just as they are pillow talking about Amy, because that's totally what you want to talk about after you said, I don't want to talk about work. They start pillow talking about Amy, and he starts to get a dream of Bangkok on top of him, and she's like, you want me? And he's like, yes, I want you. Like, no hesitation. And she's like, yeah, I've been fantasizing about you too. We belong together, but you lied to me, and you're gonna have to pay for that shit. But don't worry, I got you, boo. Like, I'm here for you. So whatever is gonna happen in the uprising, she got eyes for him. So that's interesting. What did he do with her? I don't trust him. I don't trust him. So I was like, okay, we turned out that this is a dream. So we can see now, this is the type of dreams that one guy was talking about that Dr. Lear completely brushed off like an idiot. Is he in on it? I don't know. Maybe he is. Because he says, have you gotten a dream? And he didn't answer the question. So he clearly got a dream. Maybe he is on it. Now that would be interesting. Plot twist. We go to the carnival, and Amy, he's like, you got a goatee full of sugar. She calls him old, and he takes her to a shooting game, and he's like, I used to be in the army, blah, blah, blah. I was a marksman. I can shoot. And he proceeds to shoot the gun. And she's like, oh, I want me that unicorn. And the guy at the booth is like, that takes 3 shots. And he tells her, you go ahead and shoot it. And she's like, fuck no, basically. Like, she tries to say, you know, I love how they're very combative with each other, and he can read through her. Like, I see you're trying to be tough, and I get it, and I respect that, but you can do it. Don't try to brush this off because you don't want to fail. Go ahead and try. I love that he was charmed by the fact that she was left-handed. And then he shows her how to shoot. And she hits 2 immediately. I love when the one dude was like, hey, dude, there's people in the back. Ain't nobody was back there complaining. Like, they didn't even show a shot of people looking mad. Any parent who's with their child would understand what's happening right now and would have no beef with this. So shut the fuck up, dude. Anyway, I love when he says, people waiting can suck it. But just as she shoots the 2, he says, holy damn it. And I said, who the fuck says that? No one says that. No one. He finally takes the call from Lila, who is his ex-wife, who we find out so much in this conversation. She's like, hey, so how you doing? You don't return my calls, yada, yada, yada. By the way, I was asked to be married. Like, someone proposed to me, and you know, it's been 3 years, and you know, maybe I just need to have another baby to move on. And I'm like, fuck, lady, Jesus, you just like dumped so much on him. And it was during this conversation that I figured it out that, oh, he had a kid. They did a good job of holding that close, because I was not even thinking down that road, not even a little bit, even though it should have been obvious. But yeah. And then she says, which I did not even understand. She says, oh, well, you know, because she's like, say something. And he says, I don't know what to say. And she says, well, just say, don't do it. If you say, don't do it, you know, I won't do it. And I'm like, that's not really fair to the man that you just accepted a ring from. And you're literally in a car talking about having this other man's baby, and you're not even committed to him a little bit. You're clearly in love with your ex-husband, and so much to the point where you're just like, it wasn't your fault. I'll say that to you. All you have to do is come home. And I'm like, what kind of emotional blackmail is this shit? So something obviously happened with their child, and he blames himself, and that is what has, you know, put him down this path. And he's like, well, I can't do that. So apparently after their child died, he probably just left home and just ain't been home since. And just as he's getting off the phone, Amy comes over with this beautiful looking unicorn. He's like, that thing is ridiculous. She's like, it's freaking awesome. She asks if he's okay. He's like, it's I. And then Paul, oh, that's his name. Paul, look, he got a name. His name is Paul, not bitch face. Anyway, this is the last we see of Paul, because Paul's like, you ready to go? He's like, yeah, I gotta go hit the head first. And he's like, can I go first? Because, you know, I've been waiting in the car. And he goes to use the restroom, and Brad follows him in and proceeds to put him in a chokehold right as he's peeing. That's rude. Which, if we was being realistic, we was seeing piss fly everywhere, including on Brad. Because he was ready. He was already streaming. Anyway, he take his wallet, rude, and leaves him in the stall. Then comes back out and is like, look, so I'm not with this shit that they doing. We're not going to Colorado. I'm not kidnapping you anymore. There's some bad people that's going to be after us. However, I know I need you to trust me at the time. You have to come with me. You have to follow my directions. And she's just like, yeah. And he's like, wait, what? She's like, yeah. And he's like, I trust you. And he's like, are you sure? Dude, you kidnapped her, and out of the 2 people who kidnapped her, you're the only person who's nice to her. Nice to the point where you've made sure she's fed. You've made sure she's taken care of emotionally. You've made sure that she's okay. You've let her use your tablet. You've been like I'm sure she feels that parental instinct in him, right? And you do that as a parent. Even when I'm dealing with other kids, there's other, it's really weird. It's this weird aura about you when you're dealing with another parent. I've had kids that are lost in Walmart more than one occasion. People need to stop losing your kids in Walmart, okay? Put them asses in the cart if they won't stay by the cart. Anyway, yeah, plenty of kids I've had to walk to customer service, and there's a way that people will talk to kids that that they're a parent. So I feel like she just senses that from him, and he's not, made her feel any way like a threat. He's not lying to her, and he's like, okay, let's go. They leave, and we go back to Colorado, and Clark and Nicole have been informed of what Brad has done. This guy's on the phone reading off his stats saying this is not the guy that we want going rogue. And did y'all see Babcock or Bangkok or whoever the fuck his name is in the back? She was eyeing the hell out of Clark through that screen. That was creepy. That was the best part of the scene because I didn't find anything else necessary. I don't care what his stats are. I got it when you said special ops. Even if he wasn't special ops, I'm sure you would have made this guy a fucking ninja, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, she's creepy. I might like her, actually. If she's gonna be a crazy, if they're gonna try to make her like a Harley Quinn type of character, I might like her. Brad stops off by the side of the road somewhere, and he takes Amy to the river after eyeing his child and his wife in a previous life, before she died. Y'all know what I meant when I say previous life. I have a weird way of speaking. I've been told this plenty of times before, so yeah. Hopefully y'all pick up by this time of listening 60 hours of me that I can say things in a really weird manner. But he takes her to the river, and he's basically saying, you haven't had a chance to bury your mom, because they had a previous conversation where she said that she didn't know what happened to her. Like, she never had a funeral. She never went to a funeral for her. Like, she just literally got sent to the foster care and told nothing about her mother. And so he really thinks it's important for her to say goodbye. And she's, of course, understandably confused about this. She doesn't know what to do. Like, what do I say? He says, okay, say a story. And he says, well, my mom was a crackhead. And he's like, she still was your mother. And he tells her that anger is poison. And I love how she starts off with this one story that's kind of generic. Like, one day for my birthday, she made me a cake of donut holes and put whipped cream on it, and she let me eat it, the whole thing. And you start getting a little bit more from her. She gives another story, like she let me sit in her bed and watch TV. And she said I was the joy of her life all the time. She would always tell me that. So again, another big acknowledgement that this mother, despite her faults, loved her child. And we go back to Anthony because she starts crying, of course, and falls into, she gets a proper goodbye to her mother. And we go back to Anthony sitting on a doctor's table, and you see this doctor come in. We don't know who it is, and I didn't know who it was. I'm like, this is another character this late in the game? And no, it's Dr. Tim Fanning, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And he tells Anthony that, are you ready for what's about to happen to you? Basically, he's welcoming Anthony into the fold before Anthony's even injected. I'm like, damn, this dude is powerful. I feel like we have not done nearly enough science on Dr. Tim Fanning than we should be doing. Anyway, as Brad is purchasing, donuts and orange juice for Amy, we see they put out a bolo on him, and you, for the first time, are starting to get the clear picture on how powerful this the government is, because they put out a bolo on this dude like he kidnapped this girl. And as soon as he leaves the store, he goes to a payphone and calls Lila, who does a really good job. Give her props, what props are due, of putting off, Clark, who's in her living room with about like 6 or 7 folks, saying, hey, I haven't talked to him in months, which is really very clear, because even when Paul was in the car, she was calling and he never answered. So, and he didn't even know he had an ex-wife. So clearly there's a lot that's not known. But because of him not being home, it's realistic that they probably don't have a close relationship. So Clark assumes that she's talking to a patient, and he tells her, I've loved you, I've always loved you, blah, blah, blah. I'm not emotionally invested in them whatsoever. And, he tries to tell her, I didn't do what they said. This woman was just begging you to come home. I don't think she thinks that you're a killer or a kidnapper of children. Clark wants to find him before anyone else because he thinks he can talk him down, because they are friends, and Nicole acknowledges that too, like, hey, this is your friend. And he's like, it don't matter, I gotta take care of my business. And just as he gets in the car, he tells Amy that, hey, we're surrounded, because she's like, why are you looking all around? And the officer is clearly, they made eye contact, and he's like, we're surrounded, we have to give ourselves up. Because, now, were they surrounded or were they not? I don't know. Because I only saw the one officer. So I think maybe he just thought that was the best thing when he saw the cop. I think that's better on what happened. But he says, hey, we have to give up right now. I thought we would get to New Mexico, but we're not going to get to New Mexico. He probably just didn't want to break any more laws. And he says, listen to me, which I like he does that. You're very smart, and you're tough, and you're resourceful, and you're a really awesome kid, basically. And I'm not saying that as an opinion, that is a fact of life. And I know you're going to be okay. Like, I need to get you on the news so that people can see you and you're not, going to be taken. They can't take you if you're known, right? If you're on the news. But you see, they put the picture of him and not her, right? So he turns himself into the sheriff after she says, okay, she's cool with it, because she did not want to be abandoned by him. And as they're at the police station, because I thought it was going to get dirty at this point. No, he really did just turn himself in. And they're at the police station. He's handcuffed. And, it seems like they're perfectly fine with it. They're like, she's clearly not acting like like she got kidnapped. And the sheriff gets a call from the government. And he's like, oh, hell no, we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to get out of Dodge. And I don't know why Brad did not figure that this was going to happen. But he sends Amy to steal the keys. And I was about to be like, come on, dude. You don't see that man behind your counter? That girl behind your counter? But just as she's throwing the keys, the sheriff is like, what the fuck? And that is when Clark and folks show up. It's going down for real. The sheriff is like, look. He turns his gun on him, and Brad just takes it out of his hand like, boy, no one should have gave you a weapon. But he's like, look, I'm basically not a threat, but I ain't got no time. Show me the exit. So he's taking the sheriff out the back. One of the military guys come in, and they straight up kill the sheriff, because he's like, here's your guy right here. It's like, no, sheriff, no, you are collateral. And I'm like, damn, they really are serious. They find a back room, a place where they can, I like this part because it's very realistic. I hate when people try to like fight things out. Let me stop myself right there. It started off realistic, where he found a place that he can defend, and the one guy's going down the hallway, but we saw like 9 people get out of those trucks, right? So why only one dude come down this hallway? They get into this one-on-one cool fight. Where's the rest of the folks? There should be no reason why everyone is not in the building, especially when they just killed the sheriff. And they don't to have any casualties. Was there a secretary in there? What happened to her? They probably killed her too. Anyway, just as they come out, they run into Clark, and Clark's like, come on, man, don't make me do this. I'm going to shoot you. And he does. Because he's not giving up. The slow-mo, no mo. Do you need the slow-mo? That was just dumb. And they jump in the car, and they steal a cop car, and they drive off. And this is where we finally go full circle back to the beginning, where she's freaking the hell out. Probably because 3 days ago my mom died. Yesterday I was kidnapped, and today I am now being chased by the government who want to kill me, possibly. They definitely want to kidnap me, but they definitely just shot an officer, and they clearly want to shoot my friend. So Brad took a hit to the side though. I thought he got hit in the arm. He got hit in the side. He gonna need some stitches or a doctor. He needs a doctor. Yes, I'm totally thinking about that Dr. Dre Eminem song. Shut up. Anyway, just as poor Amy is freaking the hell out, he's like, look at me. Because he's trying to put her seatbelt on. And she's completely, she's in shock. At this point, yeah, people have been shot and killed. Blood has been spilt. He tells her, I'm not going to leave you. I promise. Yeah, he gonna keep that promise. That man gonna die keeping that kid alive. We all know how that's gonna go. And he's like, now put on your fucking seatbelt. He didn't say that, but I felt like that's how he was saying it. Like, get your seatbelt on. And that's how we end the episode. And I was like, oh, okay. Got interesting in the last 5 minutes, and then where it goes from here, I don't know. Like I said, it was an okay pilot. It wasn't the best, but I really like Amy and Mark Paul Glossier. We all know him from Saved by the Bell, so they got a good cast. I like the girl who plays Nicole. I hope she has a huge role. Anthony, he might be someone who's interesting. They have a lot of good characters that I would be happy to follow. They just need to make the storytelling a little better. Okay, a lot better, but ram up the action, because there's the thing about these types of shows. We're not really focused too much on the storyline when there's a whole shit ton of action. Action can vary. I hate to say it, but that's why people go to see action movies in theaters. I don't go there because I'm looking for a plot. I go there because I'm looking for shit to blow up, and I want to see car chases. Nobody goes to see Fast and Furious because it's got a strong plot point. Anyways, if you want to send feedback, you can send that to blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. You can find this podcast on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify at Black Girl Couch Reviews. Please leave a comment or a like or follow. You can find me on my social medias. On Twitter, it's Christina J16831. On Tumblr, it's Slowly Androgynous Miracle. It's been real, guys. Can't wait for the flash.